Hello and welcome to another episode of Standing Stanley Tucci. I'm David,
And I'm Hannah.
and we're still watching everything that Stanley Tucci has ever done, from
Ever.
the minor roles to the majors.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a minor but a major surprise of a film. I had no idea this existed. I didn't know anything about it. This is the film Quick Change, 1990. Had you heard
Uh,
of this film beforehand?
no, I had never heard of this one before. And yet it is Bill Murray's directorial debut, apparently.
Yeah, he
Who
was a
knew?
co-director with Howard Franklin, who he worked with again when he did Larger Than Life, or maybe Larger Than Life came before this. I'm not sure. Uh,
Who knows?
no, it came later, but that's the film where Bill Murray has the elephant. He's got to get it across the country. Anybody
I
remember this?
no, I don't remember that one either. They don't make great films together, it seems.
Well, apparently Howard Franklin made two films with Bill Murray and made two films with Stanley Tucci, and
And
this is
so
the
here we go.
overlap.
I love it. Yes. So this is a
So,
a big whomst we also production, wouldn't you say, David?
yes, a large cast of notables. We've got Bill Murray, of course,
Of
who we
course.
love, we adore,
Whomst we
uh,
also.
and Gina Davis,
Boom.
who we've spoken of before in her voice role on Shira.
Whomst we also.
Yeah, she's a doll. We love her.
We love
And
her.
then Randy Quaid, whomst we don't
Don't
really, in
know.
particular.
I mean,
We've never had any
sorry.
strong opinions one way or the other on.
Yeah, like
He's just Randy Quaid. He's just there.
he's fine. This in particular is also not one of his best performances, I would say.
Off the record, who's
Um
your favorite Quaid? Randy or Dennis?
oh,
This is off the record.
I off the record. I don't know. Probably Dennis, I guess.
Parent Trap, big Parent Trap fan. Day After
I
Tomorrow
mean,
is
it's that
on
smile.
Independence Day.
I did like Day After Tomorrow and The Parent Trap. So what can I say? Off the
um,
record, of course.
But then, of course, there's of course, Stanley's favorite actor in this whole production. That must be Tony Shalhoub.
Tony Shalhoub.
This is for sure one of his earlier roles as well. Both Tony and Tucci are in these kind of roles that they would later hope to never be cast in these types of roles. Again, these
Right.
stereotypical, very ethnically, you know, very
Defined.
very
Yeah.
racist roles,
Yeah.
and very New York racist. Like
Yes.
the crazy people you meet in New York, like mafiosos and crazy cab drivers who don't speak
From the
no
Middle
English.
East. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's it's so funny coming like this film and the last Tucci film that we covered are both very like New York, we
And New
love to
York,
only in New York, we love to
only
hate
in
it.
New York. Yeah, there's a scene very close to the beginning, and maybe we should just get in with the plot.
Yeah.
Because this is a film about a clown who robs a bank, but he's
Played
not
by
really a
Bill
clown.
Murray. Bill
He's not
Murray.
actually a clown. He's just dressed as one. He's
Yeah.
really a city planner who hates New York so much that he's decided to plan an elaborate bank heist with his girlfriend and his friend from like elementary school or
I
something.
guess, yeah.
And then they're going to flee to Fiji, and then later Monaco. But it opens with the bank robbery, and as soon as he, comes in dressed as a clown and starts robbing the bank, I'm immediately thinking this is the prequel to The Dark Knight. This is the real Joker origin story we were looking for,
Yeah.
not that Arthur. His
Yeah.
name ain't Arthur; it's Grim, and
It's grim. His name's
he's
fucking Grim in this movie. I can't
he's
with it.
Bill Murray, the first Joker. And he
This
comes
is
in and he says, "Let's put a smile on that face. I'm gonna introduce a little chaos. No, I killed the bus driver." Joker
no.
quotes.
um yeah. I just also think it's interesting that both this movie and the last movie star a redheaded ingenue who's dating a bad boy New Yorker. And they're both like, this city, it really chews you out. You can't afford an apartment anywhere, man.
Well, I think of her more as his Harley Quinn. And,
oh, okay.
And
That's
she's
true.
she's crazy and crazier than him, and she's fearless. And she was his queen.
Oh my God.
God help anyone who dared disrespect his queen. Because she's doing all this crazy crime stuff too, and she gets off on it.
She does get off on it.
The real Harley Quinn.
But yeah, so the actual heist portion of this movie,
it's just like the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
It's like the first 10-15 minutes. And then very quickly, it's just a farce about trying to get to the airport and like evade the cops.
Yeah, it might as well be like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Randy Quaid as the John Candy. Like it's not interesting. It's not unique. The most interesting part is the first 10 minutes. I think you'd agree. It's lovely clown heist that just sort of comes out of nowhere. And the fact that it's a clown heist is funny.
And the fact that everyone is just so mellow about it the whole time.
It's great. Yeah. You've got he like comes up with a gun and he's like pointing it at the at the security guard. He's like, no, this is a robbery. It is.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Nah, you're joking me. No, it is a robbery.
And he's like casually like pointing a gun at the security cameras and like shooting them but missing them over and over again. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun because they use it as a moment where he like pulls out a gun when he first walks into the bank, and all the people are like, whatever, and he's like, God, I hate this town. This is a real robbery, and like has to like shoot the gun off for anyone to believe him. It's like classic jaded New Yorkers.
They don't know.
There's like the one hostage. Right, they're so numb to it all. But just once they're captured too, there's jokes about who should we vote out first, and like
they're
another rich guy
to the
tries
crying man,
right. And they're what do we call it? There's a rich guy who tries to bribe Bill Murray with a watch.
Right, expensive watch.
Which
he's
comes
like,
in
I
handy
can't take
later.
this watch. I'd feel beholden to you. Let me tell you, I'll buy it off you. Here's three bills, and it's a $1,200 watch. And he's just paying for it.
No, it's not $1,200. It's a $12,000 watch that he buys off the guy for $300. But then, okay, so they get out of the bank by basically pretending to be hostages, and the police chief is like, "All right, get out of here."
Such a Joker move, classic Joker. The doctors are the clowns are the doctors, and the doctors are the clowns.
Yeah,
the clowns are the hostages. Classic Dark Knight move. Come on.
So his plan is to like keep calling them every so often from payphones to sort of keep stalling them and whatnot.
But everything goes off the rails when Randy Quaid hits the horn by accident, and the police chief hears the horn, and he says, "Wait, that wasn't a clown horn. It's a car horn."
Isolate that. Yeah. And so they realize he's not in the bank. So, they've got to race to the airport instead of taking a nice leisurely stroll there. And at first they can't find directions.
Right, because they can't find directions because the New Yorkers, they're so disaffected. The people taking down the sign, they don't know which street goes where, and they can't tell you, we're not from this part of town, eh?
Okay, but they're literally like, where is the BQE, which is like a major fucking expressway? Like, just look for an overpass and it's probably the BQE. Like, it should not be difficult. And these guys are like, we don't know. We've just never heard of it. The guys who hang the signs for where it is, they're coming tomorrow. We're just taking the shit down today. Classic.
Yeah. And why does Bill Murray want to get out of the town so much? Why does he hate New York?
Because they're destroying all these classic beautiful buildings,
Right.
and
Building up
they're
ugly
turning them
high
into these
rises,
luxury
expensive.
yeah, luxury condos, luxury high rises. You know, they're not building affordable housing in this crap town.
Yeah.
They're ripping everybody off, these landlords.
Yeah, so the normal hijinks ensue. Their car gets stolen. They break into this guy's apartment to change their clothes, and then they get held up at gunpoint. And
Right.
the gunman's played by Phil Hartman, God rest his soul. And
Mm-hmm.
they make a joke about how this guy's like a corporate dude, but of course he knows about Woodstock. He knows about freedom.
He was at Woodstock.
I was at Woodstock, for your information. It's like, then you remember what it's like to get out of this city.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of jokes about angry boomers.
Well, I mean, there's a joke about how, like they were in the apartment before this guy, and so he's like, yeah, we were paying like $12.65 for this, and he's like, are you kidding? We're paying $2,600, which, like, classic New York landlord move. Your old tenants move out, and you jack that shit up.
Oh man. So then we get to the Tony Shalhoub part, right?
Well, there's another moment where they get they're trying to ask for directions to the BQE still.
Yeah.
And a guy, they're like, hey, do you have anything? And he's like, oh yeah, certainly. And Bill Murray's like, this guy's too nice, I don't trust it. And they're like, he's got Iowa plates, he's from out of town, he's not a New Yorker, that's why he's so nice. And he's like, okay. Turns out he's a robber, but he doesn't find the millions strapped to their bodies. He just gets $4 from their wallet, and nothing in their trunk really. So just like takes that and leaves.
That's when he gives up his watch, right? Or
no, he tries to give up the watch. He's like, here, take this watch. It's worth $1,200, but I got it off the guy for $300. And he's like, you're an idiot. This is a fake watch. I don't want this crap.
Classic.
Yeah.
So the cops are like, starting to figure out where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to track him down, and they've lost the trail. But that's when these guys are in this cab with Tony Shalhoub, and Tony Shalhoub, he keeps like asking them the same question. So Randy Quaid freaks out that he doesn't know how to get to the airport, and so he opens the cab to the moving while it's moving, and he flies out and then hits his head on a newsstand, and that's how the cops find them, because he hits his head on a newsstand and someone calls it in.
Yeah, and the chief of police, at this point they've realized that, they were some of the hostages. That's how they got out of the bank. Okay. And, they're like, we're looking for two guys and a woman. Like, how will we ever find them? There's nothing coming in. And he's like, guy hit his head. That's a panic move. That's it. That's them. Like his just cop instinct is like so on the nose that he can sniff them out,
Yeah, he was the best cop in the city. He took on the Lambino family.
Yeah.
Not that that's gonna come back.
Speaking of which, so
basically, guys, they get out of the cab and they're just like, all right, we got to get this guy out of here because the cops are coming. Let's just go into this random building. It's New York. We can just bust in, and it'll be an empty warehouse, and there will be no one in there and no security guarding it, but there will probably not be the mafia in there. But then it is. The mafia's right inside the building, just doing a deal and selling like hot stereos or something.
It's the Tucci. The Tucci is in there.
This time, on TV, the Tucci is like very clearly a mob boss. In almost every one of his guest appearances that we talked about, when he's in the mob, he's leading that damn mob because he's the classiest guy around. But in the film world,
unless he's a bag man.
But in the film world, he's got to be you
Yeah.
know, the second in command, kind of the yes man to the real guy in the warehouse who's in charge. And so the joke is
Right.
just that
Right.
Tucci he's just repeating everything that the guy says, and he's doing kind of
Yeah.
like a bad Marlon Brando lisp kind of thing. I don't know. How would you
Yeah, a
define
little bit.
his acting in those?
I mean, it's very character, you know,
Yeah,
it's definitely one of his
he's doing a
more,
character actor character bit. It's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's
It's damn
it's
good.
it's good. Um it's definitely one of his more exaggerated
Yeah,
performances, at least
I
so
think
far
he's
that we've
chewing
seen,
gum
I
or
think.
something.
Yeah,
He's
I
and
think
he's just
so.
repeating everything the guy says. You know, it'd be like, you know, we didn't hear nothing about no money. Tell him we didn't hear nothing. Yeah, we didn't hear nothing. And then you know that's the joke is that he
All
just
right.
repeats everything that everyone says. He's a go between Bill Murray, who's
Yeah.
you know bluffing his way through this with such aplomb. You know, just
Yeah.
quickly saying, "Well, you don't want Mario to get involved in this." Whoa, not Mario.
You know, just like lucking and bluffing his way through, and you know, pretending that
Yeah.
they're the envoys from a larger person, and then letting these mobsters sort of fill in the blanks for them. And
Yeah,
so
they just keep
then
talking
they're
about
like,
Mr. Lambino. Mr. Lambino is
oh,
gonna come. Mr. We don't
no, no,
you don't
no,
want to dock him, but you would never double cross Mr. Lambino. And so they give
no
him
way.
an envelope with $6,000, and he just sort of backs out of the room.
Yep.
Um,
And
but there
they
are
leave.
some key Tucci bits here, and that I think
Yeah.
set him apart. And I think people recognized it in this film. Oh, he's doing something special here. There's a moment where he's like looking, he's just in the background really, he's not like doing anything for the scene, but he's just staring into Randy Quaid's eyes, and Randy Quaid
Mm-hmm.
is like touching his like forehead, and Stanley
Yeah.
Tucci's just mirroring it and just also touching his forehead at the same time.
Well, right, because you know,
It's a
they're talking
beautiful
about
little
how
moment.
like, well, they're saying like, oh yeah, Mario like beat him up. He's like, oh my God, Mario did this to that guy. Like, oh, that could be me, because you know they're
Yeah,
the boss is originally gonna call Mr. Lambino, and
yeah,
that's
but
gonna blow
it's like
the
such a
bluff.
theater thing to
Oh
me.
yeah,
It's such a you know an actor's thing that you know it's not a thing a star you know like a big star does because they're you know above it or whatever. But
mm.
an actor knows to like, hey Randy, come on here, we'll have a little conversation. Here's like a funny bit we could do in the background. See if the director likes it. We're just gonna just touch our heads at the same
Yeah.
time,
You
and we're
you
gonna
touch
time
your
it out.
head, and then I touch my head, and that's I'm freaking out, you
Yeah.
know.
And then there's just like a couple lines as they're walking out the door that
Uh-huh.
I feel like they were improvised. I feel like they were a Stanley
Yeah.
Tucci special where he goes like,
Oh,
"Yeah, King Lambino. That's why they call him the king. Tell him I said so. Tell him I said so. And
yeah.
take care of your head. And take care of your head." That line
That's
is so quiet and so subtle. It's just a little garnish on the
that's
top of this performance.
that's the garnish and the Negroni of this performance.
That's what it is because it's right before the scene cuts. I mean, and so you know it was like an active decision from the editor to leave that
Keep that
in.
in. Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that's Tooch right there. You can't beat that.
Can't beat it. And that's it for the Tooch in this one.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, our point has always been that not that Tucci is only in good movies
No, no,
because
no,
this
no.
is not a good movie.
No. It's an
This is a bad
enjoyable movie. I
It's
enjoyed it.
watchable.
I enjoyed it.
I
I
think.
think
I
it's
mean,
a fun.
it's short.
Yeah.
It's 90 minutes. You know, just quick, easy watch. But it did not sell it for me. Other than the first 10 minutes, I thought were good. But Stanley Tucci, one of the best parts of this
Oh
movie,
yeah.
and that's our
Absolutely.
thesis for this fan cast
Yeah.
is Stanley is the best in the mediocre and the subpar films.
Absolutely. So you
And
know
that just
the
happens to be the theme of today's Tucci news.
Tucci news.
We've got a Tucci news up today from
Breaking news.
Epigram.
Sorry.
From epigram.org.uk. So this is a sort of British a British source.
No, this is the University of Bristol student newspaper. Like, yes, that's exactly what this is. This is a student review of a new movie.
Well, they published it, but I think the website is not owned by them, is it?
I think so.
The program is Bristol University's award-winning independent student newspaper.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
So this take comes from Julius De La Rama, who's a third-year student in film and television, and it's his take on Supernova, the new film starring Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth. So I'll just read like the beginning of it because I feel like it sort of summarizes what our purpose is in reading this.
Yeah.
A supernova is described as a powerful explosion of a dying massive star, something that is simultaneously beautiful and melancholic. It is an act of rebirth and life anew amongst heavy devastation. Despite having
the headline.
Oh, sorry. The headline is, despite its star power, Supernova is an inoffensive disappointment.
Do you want to take it again?
Sure. Okay.
Because it just seemed weird to start reading the article before reading the headline.
The headline. That's fair. Okay. I'll just do the whole thing again.
Okay. Sorry.
So this comes to us from Julius De La Rama, who is a third-year film student at Bristol University. And his article is titled, "Despite its star power, Supernova is an inoffensive disappointment."
Despite its star power. All right. So they're bringing the heat, Colin and Stanley. They're bringing the heat, but
they're bringing the heat.
The film is a burn. There's no heat to it.
Yeah, we'll see though. I'm just gonna read the beginning of this, and then you can pick out any other moments you want to call attention to, David.
Right. Yeah.
A supernova is described as a powerful explosion of a dying massive star, something that is simultaneously beautiful and melancholic. It is an act of rebirth and life anew amongst heavy devastation. Despite having two highly talented stars, no pun intended.
Oh, stars, supernovas.
Yeah, stars. Take the reins here. Harry McQueen's Supernova goes in the opposite route, deciding to be a muted, subdued, and overall disappointing effort.
See, I mean, that's the thing. It's like Tucci. He can't do subdued. He's too much of a star. He's too explosive.
Yeah.
He brings too much to the project. He overshadows the script and all of these things. I love the line, despite two lead performances that are pretty great and a pleasant change of pace for both Firth and Tucci, there isn't enough substance in Supernova for me to have any genuine attachment to any one thing that the film has to offer. Again, it's like they're pretty great, but the film.
Right.
So,
we'll see.
Even if this was a passion project for Tucci, which I'm not sure it was, he outshines it, and that's what this podcast is all about.
Yeah. So thank you, Julius De La Rama, for recognizing that even if you did not enjoy Tucci's latest effort, Supernova, that you still appreciated the Tucci of it all. So thank you, Julius.
Thank you very much. All right, back to the film.
I feel like we could breeze through the rest of this pretty quickly.
Sure, yeah.
They get on a bus. The bus driver wants exact change, even though they're offering him $100 bills.
So he's got to run into hold on. He's got to run into the convenience store, and he's got to get change quick. Because the name of the film
is Quick Change. So I think for me, quick change, it's not just, we got to make change quickly at this one part of the movie. You said that there's they change clothes very quickly.
Right. A quick change artist is a type of actor who's able to change clothes very quickly. It's an expression.
Yes.
So that's what I thought it referred to, because the film opens with them dressed all in costume, and then they
Right.
quickly switch out of it, and then they switch clothes again like 20 minutes into the movie, but then they
Yeah.
never change clothes again. So
Well, no. See, Bill Murray needs a quick change of pace. He needs it quick,
oh,
you
he
know?
needs a change in his
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. So he robs a
Hmm.
bank and then is gonna go to Fiji or whatever.
I
And
thought that it was that they needed to go to the convenience store to get change quickly because they only have a minute to get on the bus, and the
uh
bus driver needs exact
a
change.
minute and 28 seconds, David, to
Mind
be
you.
precise.
Um, so yeah, that's basically they get on the bus, they go, they get off the bus, they
There's
walk.
some hijinks on the bus where it's more like, only in New York stuff,
Yeah,
There's
a lot of only in New York stuff. There's a joke. We'll get to it anyway. So then they finally get to the airplane, right
well, no,
after
no, no,
bribing
no,
people and
no. We
giving
don't
money.
know. We're skipping my favorite part of the whole
Oh,
movie,
are we?
David. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they get off the bus and the bus goes near the airport. So it's like less than a half a mile walk to the
Uh,
airport from there. And they're wandering around these dark streets. And there's just like an older Hispanic woman dressed in black standing on the corner going,
Flores por
Flores
los
para los
muertos.
presos. And it's just like, is this a reference to Streetcar, or is it Streetcar Named Desire or Cat on a Hudson
Not
Roof?
only
Where it
do I
has,
not know, but it's almost certainly a reference to that I did not pick up on.
yeah.
Congratulations. Claps all around for almost being able to determine what famous film and play that's from.
The reason I can't tell the difference is I was in a mashup play of those two. It was like a mashup parody of the two of them in high school at one point. So they always get confused in my brain. They're very similar. They're about like sad Southern ladies
That's
in
true.
bad
They are
marriages.
both about those.
Anyway.
Yeah, of course there's crazy characters on the bus. There's crazy ethnic characters all throughout the city. There's a guy who's like shaving his head on the bus.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
two Hispanic people in front of a church jousting with garden tools on
Yeah.
bikes. Lots of extremely awkward 90s jokes about New York and
That
how
are
crazy all the people there.
so crazy, but also just half of them are just racist.
Right, half of them. I mean, the one that I thought was kind of okay was the one right at the beginning of the movie where everybody's gathering around the bank heist, and then all
Right.
the hot dog vendors all swarm because there's a
Yeah.
big crowd of people.
Of
Like,
course.
yeah, people trying to make a living here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that was good. Less good is that once they once they get to the airport, they're in the
Yeah.
bathroom trying to change clothes again and hide the money,
Mhm.
and Bill Murray and Randy Quaid are in a bathroom stall, like making noises,
Together.
trying to rip off the money from
The tape. Yeah.
inside of his suit jacket, and there's a guy who is like staring like, oh, the noises they're making in the bathroom. You people can keep this city, and it's like,
Yeah.
weird joke.
Oh, the gays. Then we get another whomst we also in the last like 10 minutes of this film.
Kurtwood Smith
What?
from that 70s show.
He plays
shows up.
Red.
Yeah, the dad. And he shows up and he just says, nobody does this to Russ Crane. And he just keeps saying how his name is Russ Crane and like, don't you know who I am? Kind of like, we're wealthy. And you think that's just like the one-off kind of joke that they're doing with him.
Well, we first see him when Bill Murray goes to see what the issue is at the airport, and like the lines are all crowded.
Yeah.
And in our post 9/11 brains, it's like, what are you talking about? It's just security at the airport. But this was a crowded JFK, and so someone from behind Bill Murray yells, "Hey, clown!" And of course, it's Red Foreman.
It's a fake. You think it's gonna be the cops, but it ain't the cops.
It ain't the cops.
It's Russ Crane. God damn it.
Russ Crane. So eventually they get on the plane. They manage.
And then
to
one of the people
board.
says, like, "Oh boy, you think you're late enough? The plane's about to take off." And then Bill Murray says, "Boy, you must be from around here." Another anti-New York. The anti-New York sentiment in this film is just it's just dripping with it.
It's off the charts. Yeah.
I mean, was this film written by the city of Los Angeles or what?
I don't know how they got the New York City film and TV departments to pitch in, but they did.
Anyway, so they're like arguing in first class because they've separated from Gina Davis because Gina Davis and Bill Murray had a fight because she's having a baby, but she doesn't want to raise it with him because he's gone full criminal. He's gone full Joker. And if the Joker lives in a society, but Harley Quinn can't ride with the craziness for that long. Ditch that,
she likes society more, I guess? Question mark.
She loves society, in fact.
Yeah. And so, you know, they're all about to get off the plane when suddenly the police chief shows up and he's got a gun. And of course,
it's all over.
You think it's all over. But then, of course, who should be there but
Mr. Lambino.
Lambino. It's Kurtwood.
Lambino.
Russ Crane.
The mob boss that they kept referencing throughout the movie that Stanley Tucci was afraid of. He turns out to be in hiding as Russ Crane. And so the joke wasn't that he's like a rich guy who's like, don't you know who I am? It's that he's a very dumb gangster who is really trying to push his cover and is failing to.
Right. Well, and you know, there's a comment he makes where like, will you look at the trash they let into first class? You know, while he is himself a mob boss. But yeah, so you know, Bill Murray and Randy Quaid end up accidentally assisting with the arrest of this mob boss, and you know, all suspicion of the robbery gets transferred onto the mob boss now, and the police chief is like, we caught him.
A man and a woman, eh? And his bumbling assistant, eh?
Sounds
we caught like this Mr. Lambino.
Because Mario actually does show up near the car accident scene to presumably go shake down Stanley Tucci for the money. But then the cops are like, Tony Shalhoub is pointing at that guy. I know that guy. Let's get him. So it's all just like a comedy of miscommunication and errors and whatnot. Poor Tony Shalhoub.
You think it's going to go right up until the end because the police chief says to Bill Murray, we're going to give you a commendation for your help in stopping this criminal. What's your name and address? And he's like, I'm Dan Chipowski. Or Chipowski, yeah. Because in the beginning of the film, when he was on the phone talking to the police chief, he said, I've always wanted somebody to call me Chip. No, Skip. And so he's wait a minute. Skipowski? Wait, that guy was, but the name has already been long gone.
They took off, and so they're gonna go raise a baby in Fiji or Morocco or I don't know where else they were
wherever you raise babies once you've stolen $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only $1 million. I mean, that would not get you very far these days.
I mean, you could do well in like Bali.
Yeah. I mean, you could do better than you can do here, but could you spend the rest of your life with $1 million? I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, things are cheap certain places.
Things are cheap places that aren't the U.S.
That is true. All right, so that about wraps up this movie. That wraps up Quick Change. Do we want to close out with a Stanley Tucci fun fact?
Let's close out with a Tucci fun fact. I'm going to share with you.
Tucci fun fact.
Whatever the jingle is.
No, I'm just making them up.
It's one of his favorite pastimes with his father.
Should I guess?
Go ahead, yeah.
Badminton.
No, think father and son, classic Italian, like, outing, like an outing.
An outing?
Like
outing?
Like an activity that you do in the great outdoors.
Baseball? No, I don't know. I was gonna say fishing. Oh, okay. That's not necessarily Italian. It's just a father.
Well, he says
son thing.
this is a quote from the Tooch.
Oh, okay.
he says, I like to go fishing. And the person asks, trout fishing? And he says, fish fishing. It doesn't matter. It's the process, not the result. My father and I have been going since I was able to figure out how not to get a fish hook in my eye. We go to the reservoirs in upstate New York, where I grew up and where I have lived in Westchester County. We have a great time. I just love it. Love it. To me, it's one of the most relaxing things ever. And then he says, no one catches anything. It's hysterical. For years we go and we talk to people who go to the same places and they say, try that spot over by the bridge and the thing. This guy yesterday caught a 10-pound blah, blah, blah. But we go over there and nothing. And we see this guy like 20 feet away from us catching fish. We're cursed, simply cursed. We're the only Italians who can't fish. And that's my Tucci impression, by the way.
That's a good one. I mean, it was a bad Tucci impression. I'm sorry, David. You are not the Tucci of Tucci impressions.
I don't have the style, but I do have the fan love.
Yes, and you have the true Stan dumbness.
I do love the idea of Stanley Tucci and his father just sitting in a boat, cracking wise about how nothing's biting today.
Right, drinking Negronis.
Right, as a child, yes.
As a child, like they could still do it now. I have no idea. I don't know if Stanley's father is still alive or not, but I would assume
something to look up.
We'll have tweet at us if you know, or
tweet at us if you're Stanley Tucci's father.
Yeah, please. We'd love to hear from you. Any fun anecdotes from his childhood, we'd be thrilled to know about. But yeah, so this has been wonderful watching this movie and talking about Stanley Tucci. If you have enjoyed it, please tweet at us at Talking Tropes on Twitter, or share this episode with your family and friends wherever they listen to podcasts. Any last words of wisdom or advice from you, David?
You want to know how I got these scars?
All right. Bye, everybody.